For 20 years now, I've taught self-defense classes for women at high school level, middle school level, at different organizations. I've often traded out my courses for a tax break because I'm a for-profit business. A couple of years ago, I offered a free self-defense course because I wanted to help the community, but also I wanted to make a difference as well. And what happened, as you can see in these pictures, is we had a lot of people show up for the first class. There was 20 ladies in the class. The second class, the second week, we had 18. The third week we had 15. Then it went down to 10, then 5, and then eventually 0. And this was in November of 2013, and it ended technically at the middle of December. And part of the reason why a lot of these ladies did not continue with the course is because after 2 or 3 classes they felt like they could defend themselves. And the thing is that you need to go through all 6 weeks because we're going to go over the material to such a degree to where you will feel confident about yourself and you can react when someone grabs you or does whatever. I don't just teach punches and kicks and strikes. I go over grappling, go over different locks and grabs people can put you in from the standing up position, and then also go over some groundwork too. Now, what happened recently was I had a class. I was supposed to have a group of ladies from a school that I actually went and spoke at, and I had small groups I was talking to, and they all said, yes, I'd like to come, yes, I'll be there. And then I had another lady that had some friends she was going to bring along as well, but she couldn't make it as well. Anyways, 2 people showed up out of a possible 25. And some of the excuses I get is, well, one was because it was close to Christmas that time, but now it's, oh, it's close to summer, or the weather's nice. It's whatever excuse will fit anyone's, bill. Whatever they want to say is what they're going to say. It's not until after someone gets attacked or is going through a situation is when they call me and they say, I'd like to do a self-defense course. Well, we don't have one right now. Well, when's your next one? I tell them and then call them, and then sometimes they make it and sometimes they don't. A couple years ago, though, I offered the class for $5 and I couldn't get anyone. I even rode my bicycle up and down the road trying to get people involved in my self-defense class. So people think, okay, it's $5, it's not worth that much, it must not be a good class. But then at the same time, another time, I offered a class for $35 a class. And I had a few people show up for that too. So after that class, after the first class out of the 6 weeks, the lady said, I felt like I got my money's worth in the first class. So it's all the same information. To some degree, we do elaborate at different times and different circumstances. But the point is that these classes do and will help you protect yourself and can save your life. Now, there has been instances where people have taken my classes, or in particular, I had a gentleman that took my class, an actual karate class, and it wasn't even self-defense. And the third weekend, I started going over self-defense with him. And he said to me, he goes, do you think I'll need to use this in my life? And I said, you never know. You got to be prepared just in case. 3 weeks later, he had to use the material I was teaching him to save his family's life. And what happened was 3 attackers came to his father's house in the middle of the night, and he announced who he was and told me he would defend himself if he had to. And when the people came in, one had a machete, one had a bat. He was able to disarm them and also be able to take them out to a degree. When the police came, they didn't know what he had done. And they taught him, they said, what do you do to these people? Because they were in the drunk tank longer than they were if they were drunk. And he said, I only did what my sensei told me to do. Then the police officer said, what are you, a black belt? He goes, no, I'm just a white belt. And they said, who's your sensei? And he told the police officers who I was. And I'm sure that I got a reputation in the police department for teaching people how to defend themselves to some degree. But the point is that you never know when you're going to get attacked. So the 2 ladies that came in yesterday, we talked. And we talked about how sometimes people have blinders on and they try to fool themselves that Chattanooga, Tennessee is a safe place. Now, last year we had a shooting. I was actually out of town at a tournament for the Nationals. And here we are, Chattanooga is getting under attack. Okay, and that was an isolated incident with that particular thing that made worldwide news. But at the same time, last night when I was talking to those ladies about how people sometimes put these blinders on, someone got stabbed in a bar less than half a mile from my dojo. And if you watch this video right here, you'll see me driving on the parking lot. I'm driving down the road, and not too long down the road, you're at my dojo. And people say, well, it's not in my neighborhood, so I don't have to worry. You never know when you're going to get attacked. And I'm sure that man that went into that place last night, a 36-year-old man, did not have a clue that he was not going to walk out of there. You never know when it could be your time. And it doesn't have to be soon. It could be postponed because you were trained. So in Chattanooga, Tennessee, people need to wake up and need to prepare themselves for what might happen. And you know, people often call me up and say, hey, my daughter's going to college. This is a good time that they call me. And I want my daughter to be able to defend herself. Well, let me tell you something. I think self-defense is important for everyone, not just girls, but boys too, because they get attacked as well. So as of basically this year, I'm opening up my self-defense classes for whoever wants to learn, and the age limit is at least 12 and older. You know, so when I put those flyers out, I would put them out, you know, a flyer just like this, just tell people about the self-defense course I had, and again, no one signed up. And it's one of those things where you try and you try and you try to get the word out. I don't have oodles of money to publicize what I do because I'm a small business owner, and it costs a lot of money to advertise. You know, another thing about Chattanooga is that it's in the top 10 for sex trafficking in the United States, because the 24-75 split is a corridor where a lot of people are transported. So when I go to different stores, you see the missing posters. I often look at those, and they change quite often. And it's not just, you know, for this area, of course it's for nationwide, but you see those all the time. It makes you wonder. I think people need to take what I do very seriously and to follow through what they say they're going to do. You know, when you come to my course, we don't just work on the hand-to-hand, the grappling, the strikes, but we go over sometimes self-defense tools you could purchase. And we sell them at a real reasonable price, so that way it's not putting one out of pocket. This right here is a keychain tool. Call it a ninja. You can put your hands just like this, goes right to the eyes, or you can strike to the temple. Also, another one looks almost the same, except for the fact it doesn't have those spikes on it. Again, you could swing your keys, you can strike them in the throat with that. And we do go over the law about what you can and cannot do, because you could get charged with excessive force if you do things that are more than what you need to do. You know, there's another tool right here, it looks about the same, but this one's a lot different because it becomes an extended staff where you can actually hit them from further away, especially if they have a knife. And then, if you need something that's more automatic and a little quicker, you can purchase this. Whatever it takes. I'll teach you how to use these tools, because we're in the time of day where everyone should know how to defend themselves. It is that time. So please, Chattanooga, Tennessee, if you say you're going to do something, please follow through. There's nothing more that gets me riled than people that don't follow through. I've met a lot of flaky people, and I am always where I say I'm going to be. So please, if you say you're going to do something, do it, because your life could depend on it.